South America cannot touch us. FC Bayern München beats Flamengo 4-2 yesterday in the Club World Cup to move on to the quarterfinals of the tournament, and they will be playing Paris Saint-Germain in that quarterfinal match this weekend. It's your boy Hokage. Let's talk about it. Respect to Flamengo. I first of all have to say respect to Flamengo. I wasn't overlooking them at all. I wasn't overlooking Flamengo at all. I gave them the respect. I was pissed off after that Benfica game because I knew we would be coming up against a very good Flamengo team that smacked up Chelsea 3-1 just last week. So I knew this was going to be a tough game, and Flamengo brought it to us. They made it a challenging game, and in the end, we prevailed 4-2. Individual brilliance from Harry Kane, individual brilliance from Joshua Kimmich throughout the game. Upamecano, Maldini, whatever you want to call him, they all showed up. Manuel Peter Neuer as well showed up for the boys. So 4-2 win, good result. We move on. PSG up next. I'll probably do a preview game for that PSG game later this week. But let's just talk about this Flamengo game. Intense, very intense. Now, people don't talk about this aspect of the game sometimes, and I know it's weather, it's this and that, it's a stupid thing to talk about sometimes, but for these guys to come after a long season, just like all the other teams, playing super hot conditions like that against a very, very desperate, very physical, very eager Flamengo side, and come away 4-2 winners, I'm very happy with it. Starting the game off very strongly. Now, do I like how we lost control of the do I like how we lost control of the game in the first half? No. But before we lost a little bit of that control in the first half, we were excellent, man. We were excellent. I mean, Harry Kane, brilliant goal. Joshua Kimmich on a corner also putting in a good delivery a couple times and forcing the own goal. And that second goal, Upamecano, high press, winning the ball back, getting the ball to Harry Kane's feet, and Harry Kane from about 20 yards, left-footed strike off the left post into the bottom right-hand corner. Excellent strike. And you guys, Harry Kane's weak foot this tournament. Fire. Harry Kane's weak foot this tournament, 2 bangers. He had the left-footed goal against Boca Juniors, and now this left-footed goal, a beautiful left-footed goal against Flamengo to get us up 2-0. And honestly, after 2-0, I was thinking we're going to run away with this. But, bro, Flamengo brought it to us. It was good to see Flamengo not just crumble. Flamengo didn't just give up after 2-0. And, credit to Felipe Luis, the way he coaches this team. They had chances. And after we scored the second goal, they had a half opportunity. And then not out of nowhere, I would say the run of play was definitely in Flamengo's favor. But the strike from what's his face? He's on the screen right here. The strike from Gerson, however you say it, bullet. And I saw people saying Neuer would have gotten that in his prime, saying Neuer should have done better there. Listen, Neuer reacted perfectly. It's just that ball was struck. It was struck too fast. That was a bullet attempt, and you could blame Neuer for that. I'm blaming the defense. I thought it was lazy, and that's one of the key things I want to come away with this post-match reaction for you guys with this Bayern team is I'm just noticing at times they're just too lazy in these games. One moment that sticks out right off the top of my head is especially in that Benfica game. The goal Benfica scored, lazy, pathetic defending from Sacha Boey, and that's how they scored the goal, with an open strike from a tame, slow-ass cross from the right side from Benfica. And Sacha Boey, his bum ass, cannot track the ball and clear it. Laziness. And that's all stemmed in racism. What the hell? It is not stemmed in racism. It is stemmed in laziness. Anyway, back to this game. I thought great strike from Gerson for Flamengo, but lazy defending. The boys were not attentive in the box. They should have been all over that. They should be getting a block in there. I look at a situation like that, and I think we should get a block there. And I think to myself, am I being unrealistic there? Did it just bobble luckily to Gerson? First of all, no. It was it was laid off well by his teammate into his path. And when I look at that, I think, no, my expectations for a block are not far-fetched, because against a team like Inter Milan in the Champions League when they were defending brilliantly against us in those two legs, getting those blocks in. I think back to that game. I think, man, Inter Milan, they're drilled so well in defending, the art of defending. When Inzaghi was there, now he's at Al Hilal. They get those blocks in, and sometimes with this Bayern team, they just do not get those pivotal blocks in to cut out chances from even reaching the goalie. So the defense could have done better there, and I think Neuer, he reacted well. It was just a bullet strike. So 2-1, Flamengo put in the pressure, but Goretzka puts us back into the forefront, he brings momentum back to us with a well-struck goal from about 25 yards out. I want to give him credit for it. I do want to give Lyon credit for it. He did have a semi-decent game. I still wasn't happy with his defensive contribution and the gaps he was leaving in midfield. He was just out of position a couple times, too much for my liking, making the job of his defenders and making the job of his partner Kimmich in midfield too hard at times, at least harder than they should be at times. But it was a well-struck goal. However, it was horrible goalkeeping. The goalkeeper was completely out of position. Before Goretzka took the shot, he was already trying to dive to the left side of the goal, and I think credit to Goretzka, I guess, seeing that and going for the other side of the goal, basically an open net, essentially, for him. 3-1. And then again, another moment of laziness in the second half. Olise doing a half-ass press after a Flamengo corner kick that falls on the top of our 18. And Olise, a lazy, and I love Olise, guys. He's one of the best players. He's one of the stars of this team, right? But it was a lazy press to the ball and a lazy attempt at blocking it. His arms up into the sky, hits his hand, penalty, Jorginho dispatches, 3-2. And really, this game was a lot harder than it should have been. And I think that's honestly a theme a lot with Bayern, is like, we make games closer than they should be. Going into the second half at 3-1 up, we should be taking control of that second half, putting the pressure on Flamengo, not giving them any opportunity to climb back into the game. But Olise's lazy defending off the rebound on that corner gives them a penalty, gives them a goal, and gives them hope in the game. And that's just the reality. Now, went back to being a 50-50 game after Flamengo gets the penalty goal. Shout out Jorginho. But when Goretzka came out, when Pavlovic came in, a lot stronger midfield. We took control of the game. And again, it's that point I keep hitting on. When Pavlovic is in there, he is someone who is more responsible with his positioning in the midfield than a Leon Goretzka. So that's why when he comes in and plays alongside Kimmich, him and Kimmich are able to lock down that midfield a lot better, because the one is not dragging the other down with their horrible positioning. They're both able to equally contribute and transition from attack to defense with each other and coordinate it a lot better. So he comes in, we take more control of the game. Leroy Sané, that bum, comes on. Fuck you, Leroy Sané. Have fun in Galatasaray. This was his last game. This was Leroy Sané's last ever game for Bayern. We will never have to see him in the Bayern jersey again. We will never have to see that garbage again. And guess what? Spoiler alert. His last action as a Bayern player was a missed 1v1. So that's just great to see. Great to see that Leroy Sané is not changing up his ways and leaving any positive note with us fans as he gets shipped off to Turkey. So sayonara, Leroy Sané. And yeah, eventually we get the fourth goal. Harry Kane again. We press well to win the ball back in Flamengo's own final third, defensive final third. Kimmich winds up with the ball. He does very well to pause on his pass, shift the Flamengo players to focus on the wing, and he slides it into Harry Kane, who takes a very brilliant first touch into his path and finishes it 4-2. And that was the dagger in Flamengo's hearts. They weren't going to come back from there with 10 minutes ago, especially with Bayern getting stronger as the game went on. They were definitely the team in more control towards the end of that game. So yeah, good win, 4-2. And we move on to that quarterfinal game against PSG now. I believe from us just getting to the quarterfinal, if I am not mistaken, we, the club has already won 42 to 45 million euros. Again, I told you guys the importance of the tournament. It's not necessarily it's important you want to go and win, but the monetary aspect, the monetary value of just getting far into the tournament, getting to a quarterfinal, semifinal, final, you're making tens and tens of millions of dollars, tens and tens of millions of euros, whatever currency you choose. So it's huge for Bayern, improves our finances. We're already a team, or we're already a club that doesn't really struggle with our finances anyway. We keep things pretty tight in the financial department. So it's just always good to bring in tens of millions of euros just to participate and win games that we should be winning at this tournament. So respect to Flamengo. Shout out Leroy Sané. I hope you have an excellent, comfortable, first-class flight to Galatasaray, to Istanbul, Turkey. I hope you sleep well. I hope you and your wife, your daughter, I hope you guys have beautiful lives in Turkey for the next couple of years while you're there. I hope you play excellent football in Turkey. Great. Whatever you do, Leroy Sané, I don't care. As long as you're not wearing the beautiful Bayern badge and doing the heinous acts of terrorismo that you were doing in front of goal, I'm happy. I'm happy. So goodbye to Leroy Sané. Off to Turkey he goes. And shout out Harry Kane. He showed up in this game. And yeah, I'm interested to see what he does against PSG. He didn't have the greatest game against PSG in the Champions League earlier this season. And to be honest, I know a lot of Bayern fans are a little scared of this PSG team. They're cooking. They beat Atletico Madrid 4-0. Yes, they lost to Botafogo. I feel like they didn't take that game seriously, and they just smacked up Inter Miami 4-0. But I think that's a 50-50 game. We have all our players. The only miss for Bayern is Alphonso Davies. Now, unfortunately, I do believe Alphonso Davies against that PSG team, with the speed they have in attack, the numbers they commit forward, I do think Alphonso Davies is actually our biggest miss in that kind of game. But it's one injury. We should be able to cope. It's going to be a very good test for this Bayern team because we're going to be going up against the best team in the world. We're going to be going up in the best team in the world in PSG. So let's see what happens. And it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game, and I fancy our chances. I am not going into that game with a negative mindset. This is Bayern. This is FC Bayern München. We are not scared of anyone. We go into every game thinking we're the favorites because that's what champions do. That's what the best teams in the world do. No matter who's in front of them, there is that innate expectation that we have to win. So shout out PSG. We're coming for you. And it's going to be a good game this weekend. Shout out Flamengo. Good win. 4-2. We move on to the next one. It's been your boy Hokage Puya. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.